And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. In this video, I'm going to be going over the PPP loan forgiveness, the 5 reasons you were declined, denied, and what to do next, as well as everything SBA EIDL. I'm going to be going into some mistakes that happen with emails not being processed, being sent, delivered, what you can do. I'm going to be talking about the targeted advance a bit, and then some alternatives for you towards the end of this video. So you'll want to stick with me until the very end of it so you get all the juicy details. You stay in the know. You understand where you can go and apply. You're not wasting your time and effort, because at the end of the day, like you and I, we want to save our energy and our time. But before I get started, if you are here right now on the live, I know not everybody can be. You're working. Maybe I just popped up on your notification. You're here for a very quick minute. Let me know in the comments. Give me a hashtag live and a hashtag replay if you'll be here later on. I'll make this one as fast as possible. I have some notes on one of my tabs opened up here, but I'm going to be here on screen with you, sharing with you the latest PPP loan forgiveness. If you've been declined, it hasn't been processed, why, those 5 reasons, and what you can do next, as well as anything SBA related. I'm going to be going into some of the email mistakes that have been happening and what to expect with the targeted advance grant, because I still have a lot of people to this day who are not in the know. But I've released video content on the latest update with the targeted advance that I'll leave down below in the description, as well as everything if you need to get in contact with me. And at any point, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them for me. I'm more than happy to help. I know the struggles as a business owner, especially a small business owner, every day having to wake up, not sure about what that day will bring, unclear about if you'll even be able to keep your doors opened. Well, you have to go back and become an employee, face the reality of all that all over again. I know it's just a struggle and it sucks. I get it. I've been in that position as an employee, and I know how hard it can be. And even if you're here watching for other purposes, I release a lot of things on all small business loans. We're talking about building business credit the right way, taking advantage of different opportunities online, creating yourself different streams of income. That's something that I also talk about. It hasn't been as recently, but if you're here watching because of that, stick around. You're going to understand how to get funding for your business, as I've been able to myself in my own online ones. Now, I'm going to get right into things. Now, I put a document together. You won't see it, but I just want to make face-to-face here with you. But if you were denied by the Paycheck Protection Program, which is short for PPP, you're not alone in these denials. They were caused by so many different reasons that, again, I'm going to be getting into in a moment. And then some of these are as minor as inverted sets of numbers or a missing signature. The biggest letdown for most people is because you haven't signed. It's with any other type of lending. So I have people who submit applications for alternative lending outside of the SBA, outside of the PPPs. They don't go through grants. And one of the most common reasons we don't process your application, and if this is you, please pay close attention. And if you're going to submit an application, signatures, you got to date and sign. Wherever it asks, at the bottom, at the top, a date, you have to include that. The reason we take so much time is because we have to send it back to you and say, hey, can we please get a signature? And then we're like, oh, you missed out stating the revenue you're doing here. Oh, okay, you missed out on the owner information. Oh, you didn't state. And then see how we have to go back and forth. Now, if you just did it all at once, your offer would be presented to you like that. It can even be on the same day, within a day. Boom, bada bing, in and out, and helping you get funding so you can power your business forward. I know a lot of us are suffering right now in these times. COVID has definitely hurt a lot of people's business with cash flow, especially that. And I talk to you guys on a daily basis, so I know what is happening from day to day. I'm not in the unknown world. I see it every day. I speak to you guys on a daily basis. Whether that's just email, text message, even on a phone call at times. But if you've submitted a funding submission form, I do want to say this. Make sure to look out for a follow-up email, and I'll be talking about a little bit more about how you can get in contact with me later. But let's move into this. So in this document that I have together, I'm going to cover these top 5 reasons why you've been denied and the next steps for filing your appeal with the SBA. So just a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program for some of you who maybe need a refresher. When the coronavirus shuttered thousands of businesses, and it basically shut them down across the U.S. Congress stepped in with the PPP program as part of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, the CARES Act. And I won't get into specifically what that is all about and what it entails. But this is to keep small businesses operating and their employees getting paid. These loans are forgivable under certain circumstances. So you were allowed to use the PPP if you received it, and I put a list of bullet points here. You were given up to 8 weeks of payroll, employee health care and other benefits, mortgages, rent, and utilities, mortgage interest payments, covered worker protection expenditures. I always mix that word mixed up. Business software or cloud services directly related to business operations, and then you have other expenses that fall underneath these categories. So if the loan was used for these purposes and at least 60% of the loan was used on payroll expenses, that's the key. At least 60%. The SBA should fully forgive you on that loan. You have to use at least 60%. And that's where I get a lot of people who reach out to me that like, well, it wasn't forgiven or it wasn't fully forgiven. And, and it comes to the point where, did you understand what the qualifications, what the requirements were when you got this? So the SBA should fully forgive that loan. However, for unforgiven loans, you may seek, and this is the upside of this, an additional 6-month deferment to begin repayment. So for those of you who did not get it fully forgiven, there is that extension. But just be aware that any type of business funding you get, pay it off, get it back, complete everything you need to do as soon as possible, because you don't want to make it a habit, right? If you can't get the PPP, the SBA, you go elsewhere. What do you think will happen? Do you think everybody will be as lenient and be like, hey, well, you couldn't make the payments or you couldn't use this all about however you needed to use it? Well, let's cut down a month and then you can restart again. If you have a good relationship, I've spoken with people that do, but it's very seldom. And when you're expected, especially with alternative loans outside of the PPP, when you're expected to repay it back and they give you a set amount of time, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into and then you can make that payment back. So that's very important. So qualifying for payroll expenses for the PPP. So many business owners will assume that payroll is just basically that, the money that's paid to employees. But qualifying payroll expenses, these include more than just normal day-to-day payroll. And then here's a list that I put together of qualifying expenses. So paid time off, such as a vacation or multiple ones, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, payments towards retirement benefits. You have separation or dismissal allowances. There is compensation such as salaries, wages, commissions, tips, etc., up to $100,000 per employee annually, or $8,333 per month is what it comes down to. So when we're talking about how much you can get per employee, there are other options like the employee retention credit, and I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. It's a tax credit. It's not a business loan. And I get into more detail about what that is in that video and in that content. So when this is uploaded, if you're watching here on the YouTube channel, that should be up. So we have more things like group vision, dental, disability, or life insurance. We have taxes such as payment or state or local taxes assessed on the compensation of the employees. So if you were denied PPP loan forgiveness because you did not, and this is a very common reason why you were going to get declined, or even if you didn't get it, for future reference, and not only with the PPP, anything else. If you did not use 60% of that loan on payroll, take a look at a list again that I put together, and I'll try to leave a document for this, but if not, it's okay. Just rewind this back and go through some of the points that I just made and see if you can get to that 60% mark. So remember that if you are unable to use qualified wages for loan forgiveness, if you are claiming the employee retention credit, and this is where it comes into play. This is kind of the quote unquote alternative to PPP is what a lot of people will reference it to. And this was very hidden because of the strength of the PPP, how it overpowered it. And it wasn't always as flexible. It wasn't as something you can see out there. So in other words, if applying for the ERC and PPP forgiveness, you can't use the same wages in the same time frame for both programs. So let's get to the meat and the potatoes of why you are here. So top 5 reasons why PPP forgiveness requests are being denied. So as of February 2022, 84% of PPP loans have been forgiven. So that is a large lump sum of people who have been forgiven. Almost 700 billion worth is what it will come down to. So while the majority of the loans for the PPP have been forgiven, some are still being denied by the SBA. So it hasn't stopped yet. So that number, that percentage may go up from here. So here are the top 5 reasons why your PPP loan forgiveness might have been denied. And listen very closely to these ones. This is why you're here. Your documents were incomplete. No brainer, right? And I always like relating this to other types of loans, which I'll get to at the end of this video. So make sure you stick around. And if you're enjoying this, give it a thumbs up. If you feel other people can get value out of this video and everything else that I come out with on this channel, please share it with your friends and family. I would greatly appreciate it, and I would be very humbled that you do that. I'm just trying to help as many people know not only the PPP, the SBAs, the EIDLs, targeted advance, any type of SBA or grants, etc. But what are the alternatives? What are the private lenders? What are the programs with things like PayPal, with Square, with Shopify? How about private lenders where you can get same-day funding? Maybe some things that are not low interest, maybe they're medium to high, and that's just the reality of how things go. So I would be grateful if you guys could do that. If not, it's okay. No worries. So your documents were incomplete. Very top of the funnel, which I say a lot of the time you'll hear me say, which is very general, and it's very like, yeah, of course. You weren't eligible for the loan. Boom, right? And it's another like, oh, really? I could have thought of that one. So your calculations were wrong. And that's like a very more specific one, is you weren't calculating what you can get, what you were going to get approved for, and just the whole thing about paying the 60% and all that. Your calculations on all that wasn't right. So you forgot to sign your documents. As I stated in the beginning, this is the most like common thing that gets people denied, is because they missed to sign their documents. And I've had that actually a lot this week, last week more than ever. Right? I've had a lot of people have been like, well, I've been denied because of this reason. You didn't use the money for its intended purpose, 60% or more on payroll. And that's another huge one. That's probably second or first to the forgot to sign your documents. And then the other ones kind of just fall in even or just a little bit out there. So appeals for your PPP loan forgiveness, denial within 30 days. So from the time you receive your forgiveness denial letter, you have 30 days to file an appeal. And if you're wondering, what are the appeal dates for the SBA EIDL? What about those? I came out with a video, I'll link to down below, where I go in depth talking about the reconsideration, the appeal, the denials, what you can do, what's the time frame to get things in, and what are your expectations and how we should go and progress from that. So this is an important distinction, and we're still on the PPP forgiveness denial letter, 30 days to file. This is an important distinction. It's from that day, or excuse me, from the day you were notified, and not from the time your lender was notified. So that's very important. From the day you were notified, not from the time your lender was, as this can add some time on the clock for you. So if your lender notifies that you've been denied, have your SBA notification time stamped within the day's date to ensure that you are within the grace period when submitting your appeal. Very important stuff there. So again, if you guys need help with this, I'll leave more information in the description in time. Let me know you guys are watching here. Give me a little wave. I know you guys are busy. I am very busy. After I'm done with this, I usually blog my mornings, guys. I didn't get time to blog. I really wanted to get this out to you guys. But the promising thing to that is I'm already done. I got to publish a post here soon. And then I'll be uploading some things and getting in touch with some of you guys. And the fastest way for you guys to get in touch with me is to fill out a funding submission form that I'll leave down below in the description. I may show you at the end of this how that looks, but you just fill out some simple details, and then it'll register into my email. I'll assess it, evaluate it, analyze, give you a proper response, show you your options, the best one, what I suggest you do in conclusion, where to start, what not to do, submitting too many offers, and I just made a video on that yesterday. How that can kind of withdraw people, the lenders, exactly from taking your file, or they give you less than what you can get. So all that down below for real estates, for business loans. Make sure to get in contact with that. And I also have a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist that many people have already picked up that shows you thoroughly what to expect before you walk into an application. You know with 110% confidence and certainty that you will be approved without wasting days, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through old, outdated, scammy, fluffy theory information. This will keep you up to date and in the loop of everything. Let's continue moving forward now. So here's how to appeal your PPP loan forgiveness denial. To file an appeal for extending your PPP loan deferment period, this is the deferment, begin by gathering the following documentation: a dated copy of the SBA letter, including the date that you received it. Proof is everything, okay? Like they say, the proof is in the pudding. It's kind of weird, but I mean, I don't know why I said it like that. I just felt like saying it that way. An explanation and documents supporting your case for loan forgiveness approval, including the following, and this is a good amount of points here that have been put together: signed copies of your payroll tax filings reported to the IRS. Okay, that's number one. Signed state quarterly employee wage reporting copies. Number three, signed unemployment tax filing. So we have the signed copies of payroll tax filings reported to the IRS. So far we have that, the signed state quarterly employee wage reporting copies, and then the signed unemployment tax filings. The next one, signed copies of federal tax returns showing self-employment / partner income. Other documents to highlight your appropriate use of funds, which always comes down to it. And we always are like, we don't see that. We always ask, and I always get asked that question is, does it really matter if you ask me what I'm going to use my funds for? I get that asked periodically. And the answer to that is yes. Why? Because if it's me speaking to you, if you, for example, say you want to use your funds for expansion, what type of expansion? What exactly is your business? Where's it going to? From now you only needed 7 months to complete that project. It makes sense. Well, we'll try to give you this amount of time. Would it make sense? Oh, it's a shorter term. Oh no, it's a longer term project. Oh, okay, we might have to give you some extended amount of time. Maybe instead of giving you some type of a short payback, we might have to give you something that's longer term. So all these things that you have in question, I answer them already, and I do this on a daily basis. Okay, so let's continue moving forward here. Your information that's including your name, address, phone number, or phone numbers if there are multiple ones, right? We always like to use our business, but if you have mobile numbers, very important that you list everything possible, because even when I look at these kind of things, I try to be as thorough. When you're filling out a submission funding form, especially, and I email you back and I have your mobile number, it's best because then I can send you a quick text. I can say, hey, I've sent you this email. Please look out for it. Here's the email you're going to be getting it from. What I've sent you in that email, refer to that. Because as vague as that may sound, how unvague do you want me to be? If I broke down the numbers for you via phone call, it'd confuse you a little bit, which is good. There's an upside to that. I can share with you so much, and then I can get into it more in detail in the email. And when you submit a funding form, guys, like I said, down below in the description, if you haven't already, for getting business funding, that'll be the fastest way to get a hold of me and to understand your options. But when you fill out a funding form, please be serious. I have people to this day who I don't call from the very beginning. Like, I give them the opportunity and the chance. The ball's in their court. When I send them an email, I follow up maybe 1 or 2 more times appropriately, not all at once. Maybe I sent them a text already reminding them. And then if I get on the call, I can see that I can hear the tonality in some people's voices, and I get it. You don't want to be called by us. And I don't do that. I don't like just call and call. That's not my thing. I'm not a salesperson. I don't pressure anybody. I'm just here to educate you and inform you about what you can get. But I hear it in people's voices, like I did with a gentleman today. I could tell he submitted a funding form, but it almost felt like, without it being said, like it didn't matter to him. And even if he was busy, it didn't sound that way. And I heard the word thrown, I guess. Like when you hear the word I guess, even if it isn't pertaining to this, what does that tell you? Right? It shows you that it may be, but it really isn't. And it just kind of is like shove off or you know what I mean? And I was being very polite. I just said, hi, I just sent you an email. I'm not sure if you got it. Oh no, I haven't seen it. And I'm busy. I get that. You're busy. It's fine. When you get a chance to go through it, because I sent you all your options everything you can get approved for. It's unlike anything you've ever seen out there. You try to go and apply for other places like Lending Tree, Lendio, Lending Forest. No, I'm kidding. There's no Lending Forest. At least I don't think there is. But when you go to these places, they don't always have your best interest at heart. They don't show you a more customized and personalized approach on what you can get, and they don't make that connection. I want to make that connection with you guys on a personal level, more than a transaction. I go far and beyond. I picked up people's phone calls. I called them the other day about 11 o'clock to have a great conversation. We didn't even get into business. We just talked, and we got into it like about 10 to 15 minutes in. And I was good with that. I said, okay, this is my leisure time. I don't mind. Let's talk. And so that's how I connect with you guys. Look down below in the description. Let's continue moving forward. So once you have your documents, review them for accuracy, dates, and signatures. Again, make sure you review everything for accuracy, everything that we've stated just before this, dates and signatures. Then submit them electronically via the SBA Office of Hearings and Appeals. And I'll try to leave some of these links down below so you guys can get to those places. So what will happen after you appeal? The SBA will assign a judge from the Office of Hearings and Appeals, short for OHA, to review your specific case. And I get people are like, well, especially with reconsiderations, guys, like I get it all the time. Like if you send an appeal, or if it's a reconsideration, some type of a denial response, the time that you will get to hear a response back, it isn't as fast. There are other people already in front of you. There are so many people submitting these. It's kind of like a grant. It's kind of like they have to prioritize the file, what was already in front of you. And then they look at files and say, well, is this file even, at the time, is it even worth right now? They see another file, they go, okay, well, this one is what I have to go for at the moment. So got to keep an open mind. And in the meantime, there are other options. If you couldn't get the PPP, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end of this video, but you have things outside of the SBA EIDL, targeted advance, which is no longer available. And I'll keep you guys up to date with that on the channel on what you can expect and anything behind the scenes like I'm doing right now in a way. So so let's continue this. So the SBA will assign a judge from the Office of Hearings and Appeals, OHA, to review your case, who has 45 days to respond and issue a notice and order decision to your appeal. So they have 45 days. So there is a little bit of a time window. I call it crunch time, and it might seem a little bit longer to some people, but it really isn't in the scope of all this. I know this because I've seen so many people getting denied the appeals, all the reconsideration phases, who's been through, who hasn't. And I have people to this day who are unsure of what to do, but that's what I'm here to help you with. So this is a legal notice. If you are still in disagreement with the SBA's decision, what can you do? You have an additional 10 days to respond after service of the notice and order decision. This is after this has happened. If you fail to respond within those 10 days, the OHA's, right, the Office of Hearings and Appeals, decision is finalized after 30 days. So I don't want to confuse you guys because there is a lot of numbers that I'm throwing here in terms of days. But again, like I said, if you need to rewind this and watch it, do it. However, you still have 2 additional options. Listen closely. So file a request for OHA reconsideration. Very standard. It's kind of like you go through the SBA EIDL reconsideration, the targeted advance, which is now over, by the way. If you guys were tuning into my past content, I said that on the 15th, the SBA EIDL targeted advance reconsideration applications were closed. That was the end. You had until February 15th, the end of that. So now that's all gone. There are other options on the table, which I'll get into in a moment. So here is kind of an address that I put together, but I'll try to leave it in time. So so I'll just kind of put it here. So the Associate General Counsel for Litigation, and there's an address that I have here, but it's really not needed, but it's 409 3rd Street, Southwest Washington, D.C., 2416. So your appeal will be reviewed, but per the OHA's docket. In the meantime, you can be sure to keep in close contact with your lending institution to keep them appraised of your efforts. So very common. Make sure you are continuously getting a hold of them. And that's what I tell everybody. Outside of the PPPs too, is consider emailing them back. Look into your portal. If you have a number, don't try to heckle and call every single second, but check in about 2 to 3 times, I would say, if possible, per month. Some of you guys are like, well, that's not enough, and it can be too much. And it depends on the positioning you're in. So to some people, it will be less. So get PPP and other funding help for your business. Where do we turn to now? We have another update I want to get into. Let me look through my documents here on my Google Doc, and then I will talk to you guys a little bit about the SBA EIDL. Let me see if I can. I'm looking through some of my documents at the moment, but if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them for me down below. I'd be happy to hear from you guys and see what I can do to help you guys best. I have a whole bunch of documents right now that I'm going through because I have like SBA EIDLs, and I have some other type of lending programs and so forth. But let me see if I can come through it here. If I find it. And if not, there's not really too much to go into, which is good. So then I can jump on to the next subject, is showing you guys the alternatives for all this. You guys know that the reconsiderations, like I said, was due February 15th. That no longer is on the table for the moment. And some other things here. Let me go through this and see if I can find it. That's not the document. Sometimes I have to click through a document to see if it's there, because the title is not always enough. But let me see. Okay, I think I want to talk about that. All right, I think I found it here. And also, let me know, guys, where are you guys tuning in from? What do you guys need the most help with? What can I do to make things easier for you? But again, the fastest way to get a hold of me is to fill out that funding submission form if you have not. And it'll be confidential information between you and I. No have to worry about that. Getting a phone call, put that on mute. All right. Oh, yeah, so just some quick things here, but it's not really anything. Like, I know you guys have questions on the SBA EIDL. Will there be any more funding? It's unsure right now. There's nothing in stone. There's just some numbers of who's been approved, how many people have been approved, and what's going on with the COVID impact. But that's also something that can push the more reason that we have higher statistics of people needing it because of COVID. It can push it up. And certainly that can be something that in the future we look at. We might have the EIDL back. So let me go through this over here, and then we'll round up in a second. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. I have a document right now that I'm looking at for the EIN and then the TIN or the TIN. But I've had a lot of people like recently, like they don't have a sufficient social security number, and it could be that they're not a legal resident of the U.S. And without that, it's hard to get a business loan, especially with private lenders. So let me open up the screen over here. I'm gonna go into my share screen, what you guys can do. All right. So this is the funding form that I am talking about. Many of you have already gone through this, but just stick around very quickly. So if you fill out a quick funding submission form here with us, with myself as the owner of Viral Funding Solutions, you submit some simple things. This will land in my email inbox once it does, and then I will be able to give you the best answer on what your best option and your options are. And again, that form can be found down below in the description that I'll link to. And I also have one for real estate financing. So if you guys need that, and I'm speaking to a few people right now who do need it. But my overall site here, guys, just so you guys know, there is a real person behind it, and not just some faceless person or some company. And you don't even speak to the direct person. You can speak directly with me. So I have everything you need here on viralfundingsolutions.com. I'll leave that down below so you can get a hold of me there if need be. But I show you guys how it works, the steps to getting funding options fast, how to get funding quickly, and where to begin, what our services are, how we have so many of them, just a little bit about me there. But if we click this Get Started button, it can bring you over here. And you can even pick up a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist along with filling out your contact details. And everything will be in there, anything you need to know, any questions. There is also one last thing here, and I'll let you guys go. And again, I briefly touched up on the SBA EIDL. As I said, I would get into that, but there isn't so much. There are only certain things we can talk about, like how to use your funds, or will it be available in the future? We don't know for sure, but if you go to this page here at the very top, when you click to learn more, or at the very top of my homepage, it can bring you to this quick quiz qualifier. Just fill out some simple details. What will you be using your funds for? Expansion. What is the requested loan amount you're asking for? This is just in case you didn't want to fill that out. But if you're saying I want, let's say you want 10 to 20,000, then it will become more customized. So then it will ask you, and I've designed this, guys, all by myself. There's no team behind this, right? One of my first businesses is in the digital marketing space through a digital marketing agency, and have things now in affiliate marketing as well as a few other ones. But do you make 5,000 plus per month with each of the last months? And this alone can disqualify you. So I have many people who are like, I do not do that. So, and then I always give you guys a proper response of what you guys should do. And then if you get to that 5,000 plus per month within each of the last 3 months, or you can go and apply. So yeah, I do qualify for that. Do you have 6+ months in business? Oh, yes, I do. Do you have a 450 plus FICO credit score? Mm-hmm. Do you have an LLC or corp or sole prop? All right. So depending on the program, this may disqualify you. It could qualify you, just depending on revenue as well. Do you have a business checking account? Very important. You do. Is online banking set up? Yes. And I won't get into the details of all of that. But good job. You finished it. Submit your quick name and email, and I'll show you what the detailed report will look like. And you also get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist for doing all that, right? So you get things that nobody else will show you. And then once you come to this form, depending on the questions you answered, you may qualify for up to $25,000. It might be up to $2 million. It may be even a lot more. And so it'll be here, everything you need to do, get in contact with me, and so forth. But let me move this over. All right. I appreciate you guys. I very much so do. I know you guys have things to do. You guys have a lot going on, especially in the business funding world. And as an alternative solution for you, and I won't name a specific lender or program to go get funding with, but there are so many options. There are things like business lines of credit, hybrid programs. You have merchant cash advances traditionally, and hybrid ones. You have business term loans, which a lot of us are accustomed to. There are short, medium, and long-term ones. You have startup/personal loans. There are still the SBA 7As, the 504/CDCs, and a few other ones in the mix. So that's something that you may want to look into. And I'll leave all that information for you guys down below in the description, so you guys can learn more about all of this. You guys are in the know and what to expect. Oh, one thing too here. This is what I wanted to talk about, and I know I didn't get into it, but I found it because I was talking to you guys and I was looking through my Google Docs here. So here it is. So what's happening with the SBA? So you guys stick around with me for another few minutes, and then I'll let you guys go. So there have been major email issues affecting these EIDL applicants, and then here is pretty much what's been happening. We've heard a lot from multiple SBA customer service representatives about issues they've experienced with their email system, resulting in lost and unanswered emails and email attachments, which will consequently affect countless EIDL applicants. And here's what you need to know. So the SBA lost sensitive emails and attachments. So in December of 2021, right, this is last year, the SBA experienced a flood of applicants and attachments ahead of the December 31st deadline for new EIDL applicants. What did this do? This caused issues for their email system that resulted in lost and unanswered emails and email attachments. Many emails were sent to the SBA during this time. They were not received. So the SBA has since rectified this issue. So EIDL applicants, if you're one of them, are required to send in various forms of documentation as part of the EIDL approval process. Here is some of that required documentation. The 4506T, the 4506T form is issued by the SBA to request your tax transcript from the IRS. That's how they pull it from there. So this transcript is then compared to the tax information that you've provided already. So federal tax returns. In addition to this 405, I always like to say 405 for some reason. It's not even the freeway, you know, California 405. Kind of kind of goes in the mix. So in addition to the 4506T, applicants must submit their federal tax returns to the SBA so they can verify their information. Very standard. So schedule of liabilities. Another required form is the Form 2202 Scheduled of Liabilities. This lists all the business's liabilities, such as things, mortgages, loans. We have other accounts, payables, perhaps receivables. These are numerous documents EIDL applicants must provide to the SBA. But these are 3 examples that may have been lost in those emails, all of which are sensitive pieces of information. So what should you do if this affects you? Very important. If you sent an email to the SBA or your SBA loan officer in December, there's a chance that it did not go through. Also, like I just kind of stated earlier, what happened in December. So also, if you have been asked to provide information to your loan officer that you sent in December, this could be the reason, because they have never received it, right? They don't know that you did this. So the best course of action, what is it? Is to upload your documents directly through your EIDL portal, right? Through the EIDL portal. That's the best way to do this. I know there are emails out there, everything that I've already released in other videos, but through your EIDL portal is the best way. So this is a safe and secure way to send your required documentation. If you do not have the ability to use or access your EIDL portal, the next best thing is, as you guessed it, not call, but email them again to your loan officer. So you may also send your email documents to the disaster customer service at sba.gov email. This is an alternative email to the SBA and may result in your documents being uploaded faster. That again is disaster customer service at sba.gov. That ending of the sba.gov, like you see with the other ones. So that is pretty much the gist of it. That's all of it in short. And I know, sorry, I didn't cover that right after the PPP. I had trouble finding my documents. It wasn't up at the time. I had to move some things. But now you're in the know. As we conclude, I'm going to go over everything we just recapped. We talked about the PPP loan forgiveness, the 5 reasons why you've been denied and what to do thereafter. We talked about some alternative options, what's happening with the SBA EIDL targeted advance, how that no longer is considering reconsideration applicants. It's been closed. We talked about some alternative solutions, how you guys can get in contact with me. I did want to put the SBA part in between or just before that, but we talked about that here at the end of this video. And if you're still in doubt, let it out. No, I'm kidding. You guys can get a hold of me, and you guys know the best way to do that. We'll be going through the documents or the description. It'll have everything you guys need. And it's always the fastest thing. I know you guys always want to get on a call with me and discuss, and that's always appropriate, but it isn't in all cases. If I've spoken with you guys via email, you know this. Sometimes we don't get on the call. You know me. This is legitimate. Everything you need to know about is in the email document. Now it's up to you. It's the ball's in your court. Do you want to move forward or not? Are you just here to waste time? I have people right now who have offers like crazy, who just go AWOL. They ghost. Maybe they didn't get what they wanted. And I don't want to get into that in this video. I have it, that I'll leave it down below. But very quickly on that, if you have an offer on the table and if it isn't sufficient enough, like I tell everybody, maybe it might not be the term, maybe it's the type of payment, maybe it's the amount, etc., contingencies. Take what you can get. If it's going to benefit you, take it. Does the benefit exceed the repayment? Take it. Stable? Increase? Take it. But again, that's not me trying to pressure you. It's just me giving you some years of experience in this and understanding friends and family's businesses, my own, what I've done to get funding, as well as many people's. And you take it in about 45 days, or you pay off 50% of it. We can try to refinance right away, add on more funds, get you to that goal you needed. I have people right now who, one person specifically, and I know we have many more coming in, and this has happened in the past. He's been given an offer of $270,000. It's mind blowing. He should be ecstatic, but he's gone AWOL. And it's likely because, and it's been about a week. I know the mindset of a business owner because I am one. And so maybe you're out there shopping. You're out there just trying to compare, trying to see if you can get a better offer. Maybe there's something in this one that you weren't happy or pleased with. And I get it. I've been there. But you wait too long. Those offers don't always remain. And they can remain. It's just you might get a reduction because if you're getting multiple offers everywhere, lenders can see this and they can cause it to decline your file. They don't want to actually take it. They're like, well, we're going to cause a reduction for what you actually can get because you're just, I don't know. There's something in that file. It might not be fraudulent. It may be, but we just don't want to take a chance on something like that. And it shows that you're not being serious about what you're being given. And you're given reputable lenders. And if that's the question, let's get in contact. I can share with you what's happening behind the scenes and all of that. But don't wait too long. And I get it. Maybe something else happened. Somebody passed away, and I give out these reasons, and you should be paying attention to that. And that's more important. I get that. And there are many more. But for everything to stay in the know, pick up my free resources to get started and everything down below in the description. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of this. And again, if you feel like you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with on everything small business loans, building business credit, different opportunities for you to take advantage, the whole shebang. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.